All right, so we are doing this series, Everyone Plays, and it's I'm preparing the way. Last week it was great. Ruth talked about the mystery of greatness, and everybody's a 10 somewhere. You just got to figure out where you're a 10. And the secret of figuring out where you are a 10 is your ability to allow God to sift you. Everybody loves being sifted, don't they? It's such an awesome thing. That's where God comes along and chips off this and smashes on that and saws on there. It's a lovely thing. It's a great thing to experience. But eventually, if you submit to it, you come out like this diamond, this beautiful diamond that reflects Christ everywhere. I've discovered that when it comes to your walk with Christ, everyone plays, everyone every so often hurts through this sifting process. And if you hold to the process, this is the parable of the soils, and you don't quit, but you hang in there, everybody heals and they begin to reflect Christ. Michelangelo was asked once to do this statue of David, big piece of marble. Anyway, he's just stood there looking at the piece of marble for like a week or so, just looking at it and looking at it. And they said, "What are you doing?" And he said, I have to carve this thing of David. And I said, so how did you know what to do? How did you know what to do? He said, I had to look at the marble until I found David in the marble. Once I found David in the marble, it was easy. I just chipped away everything that wasn't David to reveal him to the world. And that's how it is for us. God creates us unique, all unique, but we are buried under hurts. We're buried under things that have been said to us and things that have been done, and we're damaged, and we've got all this other stuff, and God is trying to rebirth us, not just once, but all the time, all the areas, and each time he needs to chip away. Because God knows how you are uniquely wired. He knows who you are perfectly. What he's got to do is chip away at all this junk that's on us so that you can be revealed. And it comes through that sifting and serving. Now, servanthood is completely counterculture in our society today, to a vast majority of society. And it's pretty countercultural, even with a lot of the context of the church, which I find is really quite fascinating when you consider our leader. Jesus said, I did not come to be served, but I came to serve. He said, I came to serve. And then he flips it around. He goes, man, if you want to be great, you really, really want to be great, learn to be the servant of all. He said, the greatness is in serving. This is such a complete flip to the context under Moses, under the Old Covenant of Sinai, which was this top-down hierarchical leadership which needed to be, because the covenant was for a nation and it was a military nation. So that's what it needed to be. However, the problem with that leadership style is this. You elevate someone up to the top, and when someone's at the top, what happens with the ones underneath when they get disgruntled? They want to get rid of the one at the top. So as you're doing your devotions, you'll see it all the time. People pop up to the top and they're raised up, and then people are looking to knock them down. We have it in Australia. It's called the old tall poppy syndrome. Let's whack them back down. But in here, it's really great. You get right into it. They actually assassinate them. They assassinate them to get rid of them so they can actually take over, and then someone assassinates them. It's a wonderful system in a military campaign. But when Jesus flips it around, he goes, no, you're going to be the servant of all. You know, when was the last time you watched a movie? And I love these movies about the presidents and that, and these big high-powered people, and there's always these assassination attempts. When was the last time you saw a movie where a deep plot was planned to assassinate the cleaner? We got to get rid of the mower guy. It doesn't happen. Why? Because nobody's trying to assassinate servants. They're trying to go for the power thing, but that's the difference. So Jesus was so offensive to them because he flipped this thing around so incredibly. Their mind is spinning. What are you talking about, this to this? That doesn't work. Let's get people up there and then we just cut them down and get someone else up there. And that's how the military campaigns work. So this whole thing of servanthood is really big. It's really important. And it's not even just the fact that you will say that you're a servant, but it's the heart and the spirit that you do it in. That's really, really important. A few weeks ago, we had a youth conference down here, and I got to speak. I don't get to speak at those very often. When you're 57, you don't get pulled into youth stuff. But anyway, they were desperate. They didn't have anyone else. So they invited me in, Anyway, I'm thinking, this is great. I'm the guest speaker. How cool is this? So I did the first session. This is fantastic. They all run off down there and they're playing. I go out and the toilets are destroyed from one end to the other. There's water and there's stuff and there's nothing in there. And I'm looking in there and I go, Lord, someone needs to clean this up. And he goes, yes, someone does. Not me. I'm the guest speaker. Guess who cleaned them up? Exactly. He said, well, that means if you're the guest speaker, you're really important. You're a greater servant. Get out there and clean them up. So I clean them up. And then I'm still processing that the next day when I discovered everything else was destroyed and says, someone needs to actually get the gurney out and clean up around here. Yes, they do, Lord. Who? You. I'm the guest speaker. I can't do that. Yeah, go on, clean it up. I spent 5 hours around here. But you know what? I only got blessed for 3. Because 2 hours, my attitude stank. I was kicking things around there and I'm going, I wasn't a joyful, loving servant. So servanthood can actually go the other way. Well, I'll serve you. I don't like you, but I'll serve you and I'll do it for Jesus because I have to. You know what I mean? So the servanthood has also got to come through the right heart, but it's so important. And I know some of you guys, you come in here and you stewards, you come in here all the time, and I bet you've got to work hard to get your heart right sometimes. And sometimes you've got to go up and serve with the kids and those blessed little cherubs up there. And you just go, Jesus, I'd rather be anywhere. I'm even prepared to die and go to heaven right now to not have to go up there. But you've got to get your heart right. Because it's not just about the serving, it's the spirit of which it comes through. And that's what is important for us. The Holy Spirit. This is our mission, to partner with Him, surrender to Him, so that we can teach people to love God, love others, and make disciples. We're not just here to create wealth, use our gifts to create wealth. No, we used our gifts to prepare the way so that Jesus can be seen. That's the important thing. Over the years, and I've done pastoring now for 35 odd years or something like that, I've seen parents make some really, really big mistakes. Here's a big one, and I hope I don't offend any people here today. But if it is, you've got to forgive me anyway, so it's okay. I've seen parents make the mistake of not building the relationships for their kids within the context of the church. They built them in the context of the school. And the whole identity has been tied up in the school. Jesus said education's not bad, but he said if you can get education, you can bring it up here and you can actually win the world, but if you lose your soul, that doesn't matter. What really counts is your relationship. So what happens is they build the relationships within the context of the school. School ends at grade 12 and everyone goes different directions and you lose all that and then they're cut loose. They don't have relationships. The relationships need to be built within the kingdom, within the church. I think it should be separate from the school. I think that should be a separate gig because I think it's got dangers. And I can take you to parents now that are grieving because they made it all about the school, not about their church and their kingdom building and the relationships there. And now they're fighting to try and get their kids back because they made the emphasis the wrong thing. So we've got to be really careful, really careful. We've got to be servants of Christ so that we allow Christ to be seen through us and prepare the way for Jesus. So that's really what our whole job is. That's the whole job, is to prepare the way for Jesus to be seen. Now, we've got to do this together for all generations. We're a multi-generational church. All generations. We need them all. Now, if you don't know what generation you're in, you go and look up at the board and you'll see up there's some different ones. If you're over 70, you're a builder. You come out and then you've got the boomers. That's 51 to 69. I'm in there. I'm on the tail end of the boomers. Sorry, I'm tail end of the boomers, beginning of Gen X, which is Gen X, age 36, Gen Y. So you can see they're all in there together. We need all of them. We need all of them. We need the passion of the young. We need the wisdom of the old. We've got to learn to celebrate the distinctives that we all have and the richness that we all bring together so that Christ can be seen. One of the things that the News 7 and 9 noticed was the multi-generational. It was like, hey, this is really unique in that everybody's in together, everybody's serving together. But we have a problem because there is a big challenge that divides between the church and some of these generations. They did some research and they asked some questions of the builders, the boomers, the X's, and the millennials. So they interviewed those ones within the context of outside of the church. And this is what I want you, this is really scary. The question was asked, why don't you go to church? 40%. That's pushing half of these generations. 40% said this: I find God elsewhere. I hope you let that sink in. I find God elsewhere. They're saying, I see no evidence of God in the church. I see no evidence of spirituality within the context of the church. If I'm going to go and find God, I'm going to find Him somewhere else. There are some things, because of some of us are really still trapped in the old covenant, that we're continuing to do, that actually makes us ugly to the world around us. And we're going to address some of those things in 2020, because we're doing some things that are actually hindering the process of people seeing Jesus. So we'll start to deal with some of those things. Last week, we had a salesman in here, and we were talking about this stuff, and he goes, well, like I used to go to church, as all the Eusters. There's a big family out there called the Euster family. Anyway, he was in Sydney, went there, got involved with the church, it was all wonderful, and you know what? And then he came up here, I don't go to church anymore. I said, well, what do you do then? He said, because I figured out church is just about community. I said, is it really? He goes, yeah, it's just about community. So I have all these little communities. And you know what? In these communities, they go do backyard blitzes. They go do lots of good things. That's all wonderful. And I said, what makes you think the church is about community? Well, that's really what it's all about. It's all about community. Community. It's a big thing today. The church is not about community. That's not its top thing. The church is about helping people deal with the obstacle they have with a relationship with God through the acceptance of Christ as Lord and Savior, so that they can actually change their eternal destiny from hell to heaven. It's about eternal security. The byproduct of being on that journey with a bunch of people is some of the most wonderful community that you ever see. It's about serving. But this community has popped up to take over. 35% went on from there at this statistic and said, church is just not relevant to me. This is mind-boggling when you think that, once again, our leader, Jesus, was loved by people outside. Tax collectors, sinners, prostitutes. They all loved him. And yet somehow, all these generations now do not see that church has a part to play. They can't find God in church. What is that? But then, of course, we see how so-called Christians behave at certain times, and then you realize why they are offended and why they don't see Christ. That's not our experience here, but that is the experience that happens in a lot of communities of faith that call themselves the church. And these guys can smell a dud a mile off now. So this is really important. This should actually force us to basically fall to our knees and say, Lord, you've got to help us to do better. They're not seeing you through us. They're seeing too much of us. They need to be able to see you. So what I want to do is just walk through some scriptures with you now from John the Baptist, because we can learn some things from John. Now, a little bit of context for you. At the end of the book of Malachi, it's gone silent. God has decided, I'm not speaking to you anymore. I'm done. I'm not talking to you. So there's a 400-year gap at the close of Malachi, which is the history of Israel, to Matthew, which is now beginning to project the new covenant. And so there's 400 years, there's nothing going on. It's the silent period. Now, those of you that's raising teenagers understand the 400-year silent period. Everything goes silent. How you doing? Good. How's school? Good. Want for dinner? You love me? The silent period. Now, some of you are raising the alphas, and you've got the little ones, the little tackers. You know, it's like, Mum, can I have this? Can I have that, Mum? Hey, Mum, can I have a new truck? Please, Mum. Why? But why? But why? But why? You're praying for the silent period to come in. You're waiting for it. But there is this silent period that's going on. Well, hey, listen, God's just not talking. And then suddenly he decides he's going to speak. And there's a guy called Zechariah. He works in the temple, and it's his turn to be in there. He and his wife are older in the stage of life. They're beyond having children. Anyway, angel turns up when he's in there serving and says, well, you're going to have a son named John. And of course, he's full of faith and says, no, I don't think so. And so the angel says, well, because you don't have any faith, you know what? You're going to be struck dumb. You're not even going to talk until this baby comes around. So he can't even talk. He comes out of there. He can't speak. He can't do anything. But the angel declares something. This is the first time in 400 years that God is speaking. What's he saying about this child, about John? Luke 1:16 says, he'll bring back many people of Israel to the Lord their God. He'll go on before the Lord in the spirit and the power of Elijah. This is all about Israel. Turn the hearts of parents to children, disobedient to wisdom of the righteous. And here it is, to make ready a people prepared for the Lord. God is speaking about the purpose of John. But then he goes on in another area and says, you know what? Even though John's so great, the least in the kingdom, afterwards, when Jesus has gone to the cross, is going to be greater than John. He's projecting, this is our purpose. Everybody is created on purpose, with purpose, and for purpose. There's no mistakes. God has planned. If you're here because God wanted you here. Now, maybe your mum and dad didn't plan to have you here, but God used it anyway to get you here. There are no mistakes. So this is being declared about John. And then you've got the Jews, all they're going is like, we're still waiting for this, this Messiah that's going to come in and rise up and start an army like Joshua. Let's become the military power again. Let's obliterate the Romans. They're waiting for that. Meanwhile, the others are going, I don't know what this means, but we're waiting for John. We're waiting for John the Baptist, And they're waiting, and they're waiting. And he wasn't always John the Baptist. He had to get to John the Baptist. He was first John the baby. And then he was John the toddler. And then John the brat. John the teenager. John the adolescent that instead of doing what he should be doing is out in the middle of the wilderness doing donuts on a donkey. He's out there, he's goofing off. And I'm sure Zechariah would have said at times, tell me again, what did that angel say? Tell me again what he said. He's going to go on before the Lord in the power of Elijah. Well, I don't know, I can't see it. He's out there doing donuts in the car park. I can't see it. Just can't see it. I can't see how he's going to be able to do this, but they're still encouraged by the fact that this is what God has spoken. And that's for all you parents, for you with children. Your children are designed to prepare a way for the Lord, for him to be able to see it in every context that they are in every lane that they're running in. That's John the Baptist's whole thing, to prepare the way for the Lord, that he may be seen. That's our church's mission. But we're going to deal with three things. And these are going to be tough to hear. We're going to deal with three things that John had to deal with as well. First one is moving from entitlement, moving from I deserve this to I serve. This is where you get down to this servanthood. I hear this all the time. I had one girl say to me, I don't understand why I can't get in my skinny jeans. I've been dieting for 2 days. I went, oh my goodness, 2 days. I said, do you think maybe that some of that weight has been attributed to 40 years or so of maybe... I'm entitled to it, man. I've been dieting for 2 days. God should show up and I should be able to get in my skinny jeans. Anyway, she got in her skinny jeans and it was not good. But it's delusional. We got this entitlement and then we think we're going to get in there and then you got the, you get to put down this clothes hanger and it's like, trying to pull your jeans up. But there's this entitlement to think we deserve. God should do this for me because I've done that for God. What's the matter with him? That was the context of the old covenant. And John's dealing with the same thing. And it hasn't changed. In the Garden of Eden, go right back to the garden. God says, you can have everything. You can have everything in here. Just don't touch that tree. What, that tree? I like that tree. This guy over here said that tree's good. This guy over here said you're holding out on me because I can get stuff from it. I'm entitled to that tree. We'll have that tree, thank you very much. And the rest is history. So it hasn't changed. It's just the context that's going on, but it's the same thing. Like even when he's talking to them here, go on in verse 8 and 9, chapter 3, he says, produce fruit in keeping with repentance. Listen to what he says to them here. And do not begin to say to yourself, we have Abraham as our father. For I tell you, out of these stones, God can raise up children to Abraham. Oh, this is fighting talk, man. He is really upsetting them. And then he says something about an axe, and if you don't do it, they're going to come down, chop you down, put in the fire. That's not real good either. But John's talking about repentance. He's trying to get them from this desert, this entitlement. And you know what's happening? They're rolling their eyes going, repentance? John, children of Abraham here, buddy. We're the keepers of the covenant. Yeah, we're the guardians of the scriptures. Yeah. Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, us. They were so caught up in their entitlement and their position that they could not see the Messiah that was right there. And they missed it. And they missed it. They had no humility of heart to acknowledge that maybe God was doing something different and maybe they would need to change and get on board. You've got to watch out for your position. Sometimes position and entitlement causes us to lack humility, and when you lack humility, you miss it all the time. And John's trying to get stuck into him. He's trying to say, guys, it's a privilege to serve. He's trying to tell them, you've got to serve. You've got to learn to be a lifelong learner, not be so fixed in your thinking that you've got to stay right here and defend your position. You've got to start to ask things like, what's the most I could do for God, rather than what's the least I could do for God? And so many people just going with the least rather than most. You've got to start to self-examine, guys, rather than self-preserve. You're trying to defend your old position rather than embrace the new thing. How about you start saying God's will be done rather than your will be done, and you're defending yourself? And he's trying to get them because he knows that the antidote for entitlement is repentance, is being able to repent and change. To go from being, I'm entitled to this because I'm a Christian, I'm entitled to this. Really? Got to move to this, no, from deserve to serving. And some of them started to get it. They actually started to get it, and they started to ask questions. And you can see it in Luke chapter 3, verses 10 to 14. The crowd starts saying, what should we do? What do we need to do, John? Let's get some practical stuff here. He goes, well, if you've got some extra clothes, you should share it with those that don't have. That's been happening with the Brydens recently. If you've got some extra food, share it. Okay, all right. And then the tax collectors, they want to know, well, what are we going to do? Well, don't collect any more than you're required to. Oh, fantastic. Oh, we could do that. That's great. So something's going on in their heart. The soldiers, they're in there now going, what are we going to do? Well, don't force people to give you money. Don't bring false charges. Be happy. He's trying to get them out of this entitlement and from this place of deserving to serving. And he's calling it through repentance. And it's starting to change in some of their hearts. The crowd is beginning to change. Something's going on in their hearts. The taxpayers are beginning to change. The soldiers are beginning to change. Who's not changing? The religious people. Yeah. All that repentance stuff, not for us. We're the children of Abraham. Guardians of the covenant. Keepers of the holy scriptures. No, that's not for us. We are the frozen chosen. The frozen chosen, and we will not be moving from here. Please lob out the holy Antioch. Sorry, my mind went down to Monty Python. Throw out the holy hand grenade of Antioch. Maybe we can cut that part out. Never mind. But the religious leaders aren't changing. They're not changing. And if we can do the same, we can do exactly the same now. I'm a Christian. I've got it all together. I know everything. I'm good. You're a Bible 101. I'm a legend. I'm up here, you know. I got it all together. And the sad part is this often happens under the guise of religion. And John is trying to deal with this, and he's trying to bring us to the repentance. You've got to get past this entitlement from the think that you deserve, that I just serve. I pick up a towel and I serve and I love. And sometimes I've seen people, sometimes they just want to sit in groups and they want to debate about scripture and this, that, and the other, and this, that, and what's going to happen here and what's going to happen there. And the whole time people are going to hell around them. They will not respond. They will not change. They will not go out and share faith because we are the chosen ones. We are the watchmen. Which incidentally, if you think you're a watchman, they finished too at the cross. Just want to throw that in there for you. Our church has the same purpose as John. Exactly the same purpose. To prepare the way for Jesus to be seen. To allow things to be chopped away and moved away so that the diamond can emerge so people can once again find Christ in the church. That would be novel. That would be awesome. I went to church and found Jesus. I didn't know he was lost, but anyway, at least you found Jesus in the church. Because it sounds like 45% think he's not in there. He's left. He's gone somewhere else. But this whole thing, the whole thing at the junction, is about us preparing a way, chipping away with the obstacles in people's minds that stop them from seeing Jesus. And how do we adapt this so that they can actually come and be and learn and love and see the love? We've had 3 or 4 people give their lives to Christ in here. Do you know what they saw first? They saw the way that we loved each other, then the way that we loved them, and that made them curious. You have something we don't have. How do we get to what you've got? And that led to the journey. What happened? Chipped stuff away so that they could see Christ. And we've only just started. This whole place has got to be redeveloped, redeployed. We know that if we get the commercial kitchen up, there are people in there that we can engage with that we can't engage with at the moment, that we can build relationships with, that we can serve and allow them to see Christ. Same with the kids areas. We know that. We know that the arts media and the studios have to come up because we got to start speaking into spaces in society where they won't let us speak anymore, or where church leaders have gone silent beyond the borders of here and won't put it outside. We got to find creative ways to present Jesus so that he's seen. He's seen. And we've got to do that. And we've had conversations in our own home because we've got 6 of us in that place where we are and it's a little tight. There's nowhere to go. The little anchor biters everywhere. And so we said, you know what? It was good when they were this, but now we need to put like an extension on. So we had a look around. We thought, well, if we put a bit on here and a bit on there. And then suddenly we realized, man, that's between $200,000 and $300,000 to do that. And if we do that, this is our conversations, if we do that, we will not have the spare funds that we need to give into here that God's doing. So we said, well, what do we need? What do we think we could do for the next 4 or 5 years? What do you think would help? And we came to the conclusion, let's just borrow 50, 60 and put a pool and some stuff around there for the kids. And that will do us. So that's where you move away from, I deserve this. We don't deserve to have the extension. Be nice to have it. Love to have a quiet space to go, but we don't deserve it. And if God has something else planned he wants us to serve, then that's more important. That's more important what God is doing than what we want. So that's the first one. That's a big one on that one, entitlement. It's a tough one to hear, but you get away from deserving to serving. Next one is moving from increasing to decreasing. You're going to love this one. You are going to love it. This is about addiction to technology. Should we just leave it there now and just move on to the next point? Let's just go past that one. Technology needs to be put back in its place. Research is showing now that talking about oneself on social media, whether it's Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, whatever it is, actually releases dopamine in the brain. It releases dopamine in the brain and it starts to form addictions. Kind study in 2012 said talking about oneself on social media activates the pleasure center of the brain. And it's same kind of feeling, same kind of stuff that's associated with food, money, and sex. It's highly addictive, this stuff. We have got to learn to get this thing back to be the servant and not be the master. They've gone around this and they're trying to figure out how on earth are we going to deal with this. This is what conclusion they've come up with. The solution may be found if we can help someone. If we can get them to actually choose to control the technology themselves rather than allowing the technology to control them. So you've got to assess it. Well, how do I know if this is too much? If your self-image and your self-worth is tied up in all your likes and your follows and all the rest of that, you've got a problem. That means that technology is actually becoming addictive to you. There are now many reports of a direct correlation between Facebook, what's going on in Facebook, and depression. This is real. This is real and it's not going away. Now, you've got to figure out how you're going to handle this. Now, this is not, I'm going to share a story, and this is a made-up story, okay? So just in case you think we do this, we don't. Let's just say I've got a little boy called Johnny. Let's say Johnny gets home from school. He's in his primary years, and he's stressed. He's stressed. And I go, Johnny, what's the matter, man? He goes, I'm stressed, Dad. It's been a bad day. I'm just stressed. Come with me, man. I know how to fix this. Come with me. So I take him over to the liquor cabinet, to the alcohol. And I open the door. I say, Johnny, check this out. And then I said, look, what you need is a couple of shots. 2 tequila slammers will sort this out. So I give him 2 slammers. I said, how do you feel now, Johnny? Oh, I feel awesome. I'm ready for tomorrow. Okay, back tomorrow, we'll sort this thing out. Now, for number one, it's illegal to give minors alcohol, so that's not good. And it is a story. But the reason I wanted to say this is because you would never do that. You would never do that. You would be an irresponsible, abusive parent. You lock up your alcohol. Nobody's locking up the internet. No one's locking up the internet, and it's having the same effect. They come home, they're stressed, they go on the devices, and it has exactly the same effect, and it's actually affecting them. You need to understand, they're working on AI, that's artificial intelligence, because what they're calling omnipresence. They want an omnipresence, and it's happening through Siri and Alexa. They know everything. You, on the other hand, are dumb. You know nothing. The smarter your phone gets, the dumber you get. But it's okay, because Siri's got it. And you'll ask Siri anything, and she'll find it for you. And she'll do this. And if you're talking, Anita and Ruth were talking about something one day, and they were just talking away while they had their computers open. She's listening. Suddenly, ads are popping up on their Facebook screen about the thing that they're talking about. They're working on this omnipresence, because then they can control you. That's what you want to know? We'll just keep feeding that thing. And they keep feeding that thing. It's scary, but we've got to get beyond that. Our omnipresence should be in God. That's where our image should be, not in this stuff. But that's what they're trying to do, because they want to control you. So you've got to get your worth from God, not from the internet. How did John deal with this? Did John have to deal with this? John the Baptist? Did he have to worry about likes and follows and all the rest of that kind of thing? You think he did? Anything to learn from John, first century? Well, go to verse 26 to 30. They come to John and said, oh man, that man that was with you on the other side of the Jordan, John, that you testified about, look, he's now baptizing and everybody's going to him. To this John replied, what did he reply? A person can only receive what is given them from heaven. You yourselves can testify that I said, I'm not the Messiah, but one who sent. But I am not the Messiah, but am sent ahead of him. The bride belongs to the bridegroom. And then he goes on. This joy is mine. It is complete. He must become greater, and I must decrease. So let me put this in context for you. You've got a nice little business, you've got a nice little page going up, and everything's fantastic. You've got thousands of followers. You get up in the morning and everybody has unfriended you. I heard someone go, oh, everybody has unfriended you and they don't like you? How are you going to feel in the morning? Are you going to be able to do the same thing as John? That's okay. And not only have they defriended you, they're going to your ugly cousin who's developed a product that's a little bit better than yours. And so they're over there. So he's dealing with the same thing, but he's got it right. He knows if he can keep Jesus in his right place, John will be in his right place and he will be at peace. Some of us have, great influence through social media. And I think we've got to look more about how do we increase Christ and how do we decrease the technology over us. Less about us, more about him in the whole process. It's interesting, in America now, 1 in 4 millennials believe that they're going to be multi-millionaires on YouTube. YouTube stars. Indy's working on one right now, so we'll be there soon. She does it all the time. She goes, what's that? What's the thing? Oh yeah, she goes, welcome to Tutti Frutti. We're the family that toots our fruit. What fruit are we tooting today? Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness. They got this thing. They think. They got this thing. It's being programmed. You can do that. And you know what? There are some that do. Some little fella in the States makes 6-minute videos. He's now making more than his mum and dad combined. But it's the exception. It's not the rule. It's not the rule. But it's there trying to consume it. They think, I'm entitled to this. This should happen. Everybody should do this kind of thing. It's interesting. They did a study and they interviewed a whole bunch of kids about the frustrations they have with their parents. Anyone want to guess what the top one was, unanimously, hands down? I wish my mom or my dad would get off their phone. Get off social media. Get off this and play with me. Think about this. What did Jesus say happens when 2 or 3 gather together? It says he's there in the midst by his Spirit. See, there's the omnipresence. If you're going to sit with one other person and you're more engaged on the phone, you just negated the omnipresence of Christ. Why is this person on here more interested in the one that you're in face-to-face with? This is what I mean about decreasing. We've got to decrease this technology thing, and we've got to increase the omnipresence of Christ in relationships. It's so important. We're trying to work out a whole bunch of difficult things. Like, you might want to try some of them. No tech at the dinner table. Why? Because 2 or 3 are gathered, so the omnipresence side of things. We want to talk, have conversations. No tech until the chores are done. No tech until the chores are done. No tech until devotion's done. Some parents are getting really creative. I'll put a few slides up that you can just have a look as I'm talking. But some parents are getting really, really smart at this. Can you read that? Let's play a game. Today's Wi-Fi password has been unlocked by texting or emailing 2 pictures of your tidy bedroom. 1 picture must contain your washing basket, which will be used and not placed in the corner of your room like an alien object, which you think have burned if touched. I've also hid your Xbox controllers. A clean bathroom and toilet will reveal a secret to their location. May luck be on your side. Love, Dad. Have some fun with this. There's another mum. Good morning, my darlings. Can't find your phone? So sorry. If you do a thorough enough job cleaning the bathroom, their location will be revealed. Love, Mum. Part 2, me again. Nice job cleaning. Your phones are now in a place where you'll likely never seen them, the bottom of your hamper. Unfortunately, they are dead. Empty the dishwasher to reveal the location of the chargers. This is great. Don't you just love treasure hunts? The chargers are in the empty cereal box one of you put back in the pantry. Having fun yet? Take out the trash and recycling and come find me to get the new Wi-Fi password. So you can have some fun with it. You can have some fun with it, you know? But we've got to get control of this. We've got to get control because it's controlling us. You know, we're trying to tech goes to bed before we do. Put it away so you have some time, space, talk, dream, think about it. What are you going to do to reach people for Christ? Do that, you know. What do you want to plan for your next holiday? I mean, just get it out of the way so that the omnipresence of God, where 2 or 3 are together, can actually start to flow again. And we've failed on this miserably, but we're trying for one day, which is a tech Sabbath. Businesses now in the States, they're trying everything. They've got the coffee shops now that are going Wi-Fi free zones. They're shutting it down so people can't actually get on and to force them to talk together and actually be together. Some guy, I saw a photo on a train, and some guy did, it's really funny. He just took a photo of the train and he put all these, everyone that was using a phone, he put a phone on their face. That's a lot of work. So he's just taken a photo like that, and there's only one couple that are not on their phones. Look at what's going on with them. Ooh la la, there's something going on there. Look at the others, deadpan. Now, of course, unfortunately, the guy that took the photo was actually on his phone, so it doesn't. So we've got to get the technology under control. God's will is for us to be holy. He wants us to be holy. He wants us to be conformed to the image of Christ. John knew something. He knew stuff back then that we've got to be prepared to prepare the way for the Lord so he can be seen. And to do that, you're going to have to get rid of entitlement. You're going to have to go from deserving to serving. You're going to have to increase your connection of the omnipresence of God with other human beings and decrease our area of technology. I know some of you say, we can't do it because we need our phone by our bed. You can actually buy this thing called an alarm clock. I got one here, a little alarm clock, honey. Does anybody have an alarm? Who uses their phone in the bed? Okay. Who would be prepared for, say, 5 or 6 weeks just to trial it? Dump your phone, get your phone out of the bedroom and just use an alarm clock. Who'd be prepared to do it? And we'll just see how you're going. Who's going? Oh, I was a young one over here. Okay. Ty, come up here. Come up here, Anne, and get your alarm clock. It won't talk to you. It'll just go bonk, bonk, bonk. Look at that. It's beautiful.
Oh, it's from Kmart.
And batteries are included. Woo. Batteries are included.
Spoiling me.
Let me know how it goes. But I encourage you, take it out. Get it out of the bedroom. Because that thing is listening to you. Siri's listening all the time. Have you ever been talking and then suddenly Siri says, "What do you want?" on your phone? So what is that? I said, "Serious," and she said, "Yes." I said, "Yes, what? What do you want?" She's listening. Take it out. See what happens to your sleep routine when you're not continually interrupted by pings and dings and zooms and all that kind of stuff. So that final thing, we are going a bit late, is this one, long suffering. We've got to learn to move from impatience to long suffering. This is getting rid of instant gratification. Oh, this world, we want everything now. You want a movie, you got to have it now. You want songs, you got to have it now. You got to have food, you got to have it now. These generations now, right across the board, have lost the ability to wait. And it's in the waiting that character is formed. That's where God chisels things away to reveal the real you. But we've lost the ability to wait. When I was a kid, you had to be in front of the TV at exactly the right time if you wanted to see the show. I cannot tell you how many episodes of MacGyver I do not know how finished because I wasn't there at the right time. I have no idea, but I can now. I can go back and binge on Netflix if I want to. Waiting. And what they're discovering is that across all the generations, the skill set of learning to wait, the skill set of having patience, the skill set of being able to deal with disappointment when things don't work, we don't have it anymore. Which is why people fly off the handle in all different sorts of situations and that they think don't get exactly the same. Because our character is being built during those times. John had exactly the same thing. The Jews, they wanting this Jesus to come up and they're wanting this military leader that's going to destroy them and they're going to become the superpower. John's like not really sure. He's kind of questioning a bit. He's now in jail. That wasn't really part of the plan. I didn't see that when you spoke about me. I'd end up in jail. And definitely nothing about losing my head, So he's not sure. So he has to send someone to say, "Hey, listen, are you the one? Should I be waiting for some? Are you the one? Should we find someone else?" And Jesus says, "Go back, tell John, see what you're seeing. People are getting healed, people are getting this, people are getting set free. I'm the one. Just relax, John. Just chill." But that's kind of how it is. Same thing. We are very much like John the Baptist. When we don't get God doing exactly what we want him to do, when we want him to do it, it's like, where's God? Where'd he go? Why would he allow me to suffer like this? I've been dieting for 2 days. I should be able to get into my jeans. Well, maybe there might be some other things that God's trying to do. See, when we lock ourselves up when we have this instant gratification, we want to do this, and we're expecting God to do things for us right here, right now. Wendy shared last week. What did her and Cam do while they were waiting for Miranda to come along? They kept serving, yes. I know you guys didn't hear that. You just heard that they kept doing it. And I guess they had to do that in order to get to that point. But they kept serving. They kept picking up. They didn't go, "Lord, we're entitled to have this child and we're not moving until you give us this child." They said, "No, we're just going to pick up a towel and we're going to serve." And then when God gives them the gift of the child, they ramp up their serving. We didn't really deserve it. God's given it to us, so we're going to give back. It's all about understanding everything in life that is worthwhile takes time. Instant gratification will destroy you from being conformed to the image of Christ. I knew 12 years ago that we had to redevelop this junction point. It's 10 years, I've been leading for 10 years, waiting until the Lord says, now's the time. We're at that time now, where he says, now is the time. Now we'll get it going. Now I'm going to show you what to do with this thing, and you'll get this thing going, and you'll get a self-funding, different way of looking at church, which will change people's perspective of what church is. Christ will be able to be revealed, and you'll be able to put him wherever down the track. But you have to be prepared to wait and deal with it. Remember that movie Groundhog Day? Remember that movie? That's about entitlement. And he has to go over the same thing all the time. And it only changes when he realizes the problem is not within others. The problem is within me. I need to change. Friends, we're supposed to be servants of the Most High God. We're supposed to live our lives in such a way that it opens up. It opens up people's vision to see Jesus in us. That is really what it's all about. That's what it's all about. And the way you get there is by moving away from this entitlement, moving away from this, I deserve this, to say, you know what, I pick up a towel and I serve. That's what I do. It's when I go, you know what, I got to get this technology back down. I got to decrease this down so it's the servant. And I need to elevate where 2 or 3 are gathered together, that the omnipresence of God will be there to transform us into the image of Christ. And then to realize, it's going to take some long suffering, some patience. Instant gratification will destroy your relationships. It'll destroy you. It'll destroy everything that God wants to do. And you've got to be able. You've got to be able to allow God to conform you to the image of Christ. Let's pray together. Father, I just thank you that you are doing such a great work in us. You're doing such a great work. But it happens little by little. It happens as we're prepared to allow you to take us from this position of, well, we're entitled because of this, or we're entitled because of that, to the point where, no, we don't really deserve anything. Everything we have is because of your grace and your life and your love. But Lord, you graciously give us things and you enable us to have certain things. But then our heart should be just responsive to you to say, you know what, I don't deserve. I'm happy to pick up a towel and serve wherever. Lord, that's so incredible that you take us on that journey. And as we are, we're changed. All the junk is chipped away until suddenly David is revealed, till suddenly Mark is revealed, till suddenly Betty is revealed, and we go, oh, and then outside that, the refraction of light, Christ within, becomes just so incredible. Lord, it's your will that we would be holy as you are holy. It's your call for us to be conformed to the image of Christ and make disciples. Out of that, everyone plays. We just pick the lane that you want us to step into, and we love you with all our heart, mind, soul, and strength, and we love each other. Lord, this is really about us becoming the right who, so that we can actually end up doing the right do down the track. And Lord, help us to understand that our character is being formed. It's being formed in the times when you say, wait. When you say wait, our character is being formed because we're learning patience, we're learning discipline, and we're learning to trust and to follow you. Lord, our prayer through this series is that your will would be done. Not our will, but your will. You would take us on the journey. But I pray that across this room, Lord, that every single one of us, as we go about the rhythms and routines of our life, that people would look and see Jesus. They'd see beyond us to a life that's lived differently, a life that is so counterculture, that they see Jesus and he is attracting them to him because they see hope and they see light and they see love in us. So, Father, I pray that across this series, you would help us all to figure out that everyone plays. We all give, we all serve, we all love, we all care, and we all exist to prepare the way for you. And we thank you in Jesus' name. Amen.